struggle on Assault has kind of been there for Hong Kong Attitude in some capacity throughout this season.
We're also seeing now Blank Esports returning with the Orisa, not so much Hog, the Orisa Diva into Junkrat and a 12 composition that we've previously seen them play on Horizon Lunacolity. Now, previously we have also seen this being largely effective, then funnily enough, Blank kind of faltering when they have appropriate ultimates when you'd expect them to win the most. Now for Hong Kong Attitude, if they have seen Blank on Horizon before, they should know this is coming.
At the same time though, Blank should have fixed up where this was falling short. It was working until it suddenly wasn't, and like you just said, when it should have. So it's only expected in the week since then, Blank kind of figured out what they need to change. It's all about implementation.
It's going to be the long rotation for Hong Kong Attitude as well. Note a few members already getting way behind the lines. A couple members left behind, those supports didn't quite make it there, which means they're now vulnerable to potentially eat you up, sniping them out.
Yeah, just going to try and dive around. They've actually got a pick on Tongue, though. The flank so far, success. Kura 2. This is what Hong Kong Attitude need, and this really alleviates the pressure on their two supports that had otherwise been cut off as well. McCulty does go down, though.
What about the turret?
Turret shots, yeah. And it's Ting in a similar position here, needs to not get in the line of sight of that turret, but they're going to get the kills that they need. Ting isn't going to go down, nor is Shaolin. They're going to get set up on the point. Supports able to reconvene. That was a good push from Hong Kong Attitude.
And Blank Esports don't even get the opportunity to fail there with ultimates because they don't even get the ultimates in the first place. So for Hong Kong Attitude, you see the way they come back and around the sides there. Clean up Tongue first. They caught him out. Turret, I mean, the turret was there, but the turret wasn't doing too much either as long as Hong Kong Attitude can play outside of its line of sight.
If Movie gets a good EMP, they could just straight up snowball this out. There's the commit, already husked out. Got onto the tags. They got Chill. They got Hulu as well out of the mech. I mean, never mind resetting with the self-destruct, right? Doesn't even have the ultimate, doesn't even have the opportunity to use it. And now just kind of stuck in that pilot form. Good bio grenade, though, puts a lot of pressure on these members of Hong Kong Attitude, but they can outlast it. They're still getting picks here. Wall to try and separate off Movie, but countered by a sound barrier. Hong Kong Attitude now nearly getting the full cap through. This is just Blank stalling for time here. Haas is going to go down. He's really the last presence on the point. Now Hulu dead again. Still no self-destruct. I don't think Blank got to use any ultimates just about on that entire defense.
And call it a perfect snowball and avalanche even from Hong Kong Attitude. That was basically flawless in terms of everything that they did there. Completely dismantled that A defense, forcing Blank to change up their full composition. Part of the reason why you didn't see any Blank ultimates is the fact that they had to change nearly every single hero that they originally had onto A. Then look at that B attack from Hong Kong Attitude as well. It's the classic EMP snowball into the other ultimates. Win with the EMP first, then get those other ultimates. You saw the quick sound barrier for CQB. Mango Giant even had a Transcendence to play into if that was not enough. Blank, they had nothing.
And part of why that came to pass as well is with how Hong Kong Attitude rotated and then dove is the correct past tense. Dove. How they dove on the point A offense. Blank actually didn't even get much damage onto them. They certainly didn't get many counter trades. That means even the members that didn't change heroes for point B didn't actually have ultimates at their disposal, you know. It's predominantly the support. It's just rough, right? On the whole, it's just rough. They had nothing to go off, and Hong Kong Attitude had the only thing they needed.
And perfectly scaled into it as well. They didn't have to change anything in a lot of cases. Some teams run water on their offense, doesn't scale well into the B attack, have to change off of that. All 6 members of Hong Kong Attitude get to roll into B with everything they had to win A with. So again, a flawless snowball coming from their Blank. Now have a lot of catching up to. The standard has been set. That was a 1 minute, 56-second offense across both A and B for Hong Kong Attitude. Certainly a quick one.
The reality is now Blank, they don't just need to fully cap out. They actually need to do it with at least a decent time. Like, they can't do it with, you know, just a minute left or something like that. They need to do it with time to spare. Otherwise, they're just going to have no room to play with in the time bank. And that's even if they get there, because Hong Kong Attitude very much have the opportunity here to just fully hold. And already this aggressive setup here on the defense.
Because speaking of no time or no space to play with, a Ting looking for that early dive might just find one on his opposing tank. Does play a little bit of catch-up, though. Blank are fast.
Yeah, and that means they've been able to put the bubble shield down, but also means they're a little bit kettled up in this room. Tongue going to go down here. Hong Kong Attitude able to pile in from both directions. A Ting was playing a bit of catch-up, but ultimately it was a pincer maneuver, and that does mean Blank have to wait for Tongue.
The other thing is, Blank are kind of caught there, right? They're stuck inside of this very small room. They can't decide whether they want to go forward or go backwards.
Oh, man.
Go backwards is the call, but will they take losses here? They do.
They do. That was a good call by Hong Kong Attitude. Blank had to wait for Tongue, and the Hong Kong Attitude alleviated the pressure just for a split second, make Blank think they were safe, then piled it back on and forced Blank into full retreat. They couldn't just wait for Tongue. They had to go all the way back to pick him up.
Now we're starting to see the ultimates come online for Hong Kong Attitude. Note the coalescence from Mango Jai. No ultimates so far for Blank Esports.
Yeah, and this is just Blank kind of charging in, hoping to get at least something, some kind of pick. Hong Kong Attitude very much ready for it. Has been expensive for them, though. They've used the 3 ultimates they had banked up prior to this, and Blank will actually be relatively happy with that. It's a quick fight loss, and they're going to have a lot of their own ultimates coming into this next one.
That's going to be really important, right? Hong Kong Attitude probably didn't need all 3, but they want to secure that fight. That being said, Blank Esports now coming in, like you sort of mentioned, happy to reset that one quickly. 6 ultimates nearly coming online for them. Don't have to play into an opposing EMP. If Huss cannot use his EMP here, if he saves the EMP and Blank use the other ultimates to win, that could be big.
That would be ideal, but certainly you wouldn't try and make it happen if it's not going to happen. If you've got to use it, you use it, and definitely don't hesitate getting this flank around the side here. They're already onto the point. This means Hong Kong Attitude are the ones who have to answer. Now diving in means the EMP gets committed. Only got committed on a Ting, though. I don't believe many other members were caught, if at all any. But it's still a numbers advantage. Still left. Hong Kong Attitude have to use. Yeah, here's the response now in the sound barrier. But Blank are well ahead in the ultimate game here. They can just start cycling through these defensive tools that they've got. They're still set up on the point. It's still pressure on Hong Kong Attitude to get onto the point in their own right, to dislodge Blank from it. And the tools are still there. Huss is about to come up on another EMP.
So is Mui.
Same time as Mui, exactly. But Mui could be just that fraction of a second quicker. Mango has bought them the time with the coalescence. There's the EMP. There's the closeout on Shrill. Hong Kong Attitude holding on for just long enough, and having that EMP just a little bit quicker means they do end up holding for now.
You also do notice Blank Esports wanted to be conservative there. They wanted to win without using too much. And in fact, once you get a little bit further into the fight, you realize you're not getting any more kills. You then have to start considering whether you have to use other ultimates or not. Kura saved that sound barrier. Didn't quite see the Primal Rage either. Mui with the first EMP coming up before Huss in that final section as well. So important for Hong Kong Attitude.
I mean, it goes to show how quickly Huss charged it, right? But still, now Huss finally able to commit his own. They've got a Ting as well, looking to get Mango. This should be the last push they need, the last fight when they need to fully cap out A. But, I mean, that's only half of the equation here, right? Good play by Blank. Credit where credit's due, and they will cap out. But Hong Kong Attitude have plenty of time to set themselves. Oh, or maybe not. Mui really late in here. So is McCulty. I have no idea what they were doing there. They had a wealth of time to pull back and be set up on B. Instead, they've given Blank a massive window.
And CQB is still lost in the middle of nowhere right now as Blank get onto the B camp. 5 ultimates, 1 just being used by Tongue. This could be a huge snowball, and they're going to need it if they want to match the time Hong Kong Attitude have.
And Ting at least doesn't get dropped straight away. He's able to Primal Rage. Shailin, though, not so lucky, not quite enough for that self-destruct there. And it means CQB, sound barrier is nice, but it didn't save Shailin's mech. He is going to go down. No counter trades coming through just yet, and they're still getting pressure in here. This is going to be now the coalescence from Mango Jai, but they need to convert off it. There we go. Eat You Up is 1 conversion. Mui as well with an EMP. They should be able to get more out of it. Indeed, they get Tongue. Blank still just kind of jostling about. Trill's going to have to pull out, as is Huss here. Not quite able to get the snowball through there, despite some slip-ups, I would say, from Hong Kong Attitude.
Yeah, what was the sound barrier into another sound barrier, and you did, in fact, see Blank nearly get it through, but they couldn't quite even get that 1 tick. So important for Mui to be able to get that EMP in before Huss once again shutting down Blank Esports. Trill couldn't get anything done. He was caught in that EMP. It was all over when Blank couldn't survive that ultimate.
Now Blank, they need to find a way in, need to find a way to kind of get an aggressive snowball going. When I say that, I mean getting on the point and being able to stagger out Hong Kong Attitude's respawners. EMP is the way to start that, to get that landslide fight win. Shailin is going to buy some time with the self-destruct, but it's only a little bit of time if they can finish off a Ting. No, they can't. Primal Rage gets to come out, and that means Hong Kong Attitude get to respawn with those few members that died so early in the fight. Blank haven't quite had the big win they need so far, but they're still not dead, and they've got a third, putting pressure on Hong Kong Attitude. Still looking to try and close out kills. Looking to follow up maybe on McCulty here. No, he's able to recall. CQB is safe, but this does mean they have to back off the point. Blank, they are playing to the objective. They are playing the space game, even when they aren't quite able to get the kills through. But now they are able to get those kills through to boot. This is looking like it might just be the one.
And it should be the sound barrier from Carroll that closes things out as well. Hong Kong Attitude just don't have the members, they don't have the numbers or the damage.
Good sleep.
EMP is not even available.
Yeah, but the sleep not going to be enough, as good as it may have been threading the needle on Huwu there. I said that they kind of needed a comparable time if they cap out at all. I believe they had about 2 minutes, maybe 2.5. I wouldn't call that comparable, but I would call it enough, because what Hong Kong Attitude were able to do on their initial offense, they're not going to be able to do twice. Blank are not going to let themselves end up in that same position, which means they can take more time off the clock on their B defense this time and can hopefully attack a little bit faster. But Hong Kong Attitude do still go into time bank favor here.
The thing is, what really concerns me is Blank's own offense here. 2 minutes and 9 seconds. That wasn't even enough time for them to get that first A push of their own on that first attack for themselves. So, I mean, there is a real possibility it goes into overtime straight away just to get that A attack. And if that's the case, well, you're not going to get B. It's just not going to happen unless Blank get an even better snowball than what Hong Kong Attitude had originally on their first attack.
Realistically, if they want to feel like they have a real fighting chance here, Blank need to cap A and get at least a third of B. If they aren't able to get that, then Hong Kong Attitude end up in a very, very winnable position here. Even if Blank cap A but get nothing on B, that's still so winnable for Hong Kong Attitude, purely because they've got 6 whole minutes to play with.
And ideally for Blank as well, they not only need to do that, but they have to ideally get A in one attempt. They should get A in one attempt, then to snowball onto B. That's how they're going to get that 1/3. And a lot of teams don't even get that 1/3 if that happens for them.
This time they're a little bit more ready for this collapse play from Hong Kong Attitude, where you saw a Ting, Mui, and McCulty all set up very aggressively. Blank have reacted to it a little bit better. It still wastes a bit of time, but they've got the fight. They've got Hong Kong Attitude out in the open where they don't want to be. That being said, Huss going down is a far more expensive loss here for Blank, losing Tongue as well. It's actually Blank who are now the ones in disarray out in the open themselves for too long. The few members who are on the point are going to die, and they're going to die slowly as well. This is time that Blank really don't have.
This is kind of healers going down. It's really even, though. Also consider who got the self-destruct in. That means he does get the remake, and that means Blank, they might be able to cap.
I mean, that's Huwu right there, isn't it? The few members of Blank that were on the point, notably Huwu and IEU up, were actually still able to get kills on the members of Hong Kong Attitude that were coming back on the point to dislodge them. Despite being at such a massive numbers deficit, the target selection was big, and now McCulty on the stagger. Hong Kong Attitude are going to make the same mistake twice.
Pull out the clipboard and start checking off that list. First on that list is get A in one attempt, already completed. Now it's time to get at least 1/3 onto B. That is the next objective for Blank, and they need ultimates to get there.
They've got a few in the back pocket. Mui should be coming up on this EMP soon, though, so if Blank don't convert quick, that will shut them down, will take the wind out of their sails quite quickly.
Nearly EMP.
Yeah, nearly EMP, but he's had to pull back, and in that space, Shylin got D-Max. Here's Mui looking for it now, looking for the commit. Trill's already been able to Primal Rage, and that means Mui gets instantly slapped off the point, getting that third. Looking to get more. This is a rescue sound barrier. EMP to match from Huss now. Mango Jai's dead. It's just CQB and Shylin. Shylin pops straight down out of the mech. No no self-destruct up just yet. CQB now dead. They're not just going to get a third, they're going to get a whole point cap here. This could well be a double time bank.
And not even in the overtime for Blank either. They ticked off the 2 boxes on that checklist and threw the clipboard out the window, straight in Hong Kong Attitude's faces even. Now 6 minutes for Hong Kong Attitude. You got to think they can at least match what Blank have done, but man, you did not expect Blank to be able to pull that kind of victory off. When I say victory, I mean fully capping out on the time bank when they had, what was it, 2 or less minutes?
2 minutes and 9 seconds. And that was about how much time they spent not successfully capping A on their original offense. So that is a big shift in gear here from Blank. And now all they need to do is fully hold out on this defense, and it is done. Failing that, they've still got time to play within a second time bank. Hong Kong Attitude, though, if we're talking about time to play with, they have got more than enough time here to push through A, push through B, still have maybe 2 minutes in the time bank, still go into that favored.
Now that is assuming they can definitely cap out B. Note that a lot of teams have also failed to cap out B with 6 minutes and 4 seconds across the entire map. In fact, 8 minutes is how long you usually get in that very first attempt. Hong Kong Attitude, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt and say they're better than those other teams. They are now also playing against Blank, and the most important thing for this A attack is, can they repeat the success of that first A attack that they had before? Take down Tongue early, get the big wraparound, and then dismantle Blank.
So it's interesting, if you do the math, Hong Kong Attitude fully capped out on their initial offense in 1 minute and 56 seconds. Blank just did it in 1 minute 26. That full 30 seconds faster. Wow. Catch on Mui after getting an opening pick on McCulty as well. I eat you up. This is him kind of hitting his groove.
Yeah, boosted by Kura there as well. You can already see the armor coming into play. Eat you up at 275 HP. That's a tough cookie to crumble there for Hong Kong Attitude. Already looking like that first minute disappearing. They only had 6 to play with. Now down to 5.
Still plenty of them, though. And that's the saving grace here for Hong Kong Attitude, but they do need to start finding a window in. So far, they haven't. And Blank as well. What worked for Hong Kong Attitude last time around, they're not just going to let it happen twice. And they're expecting Hong Kong Attitude to do it. They're reading it a bit better.
And the setup is definitely there from Hong Kong Attitude. But the problem is Tongue is nowhere to be found. The turret, however, is...
That was smart by Hong Kong Attitude, but instead of just playing to the point, they're going straight on the dive, and that's where things start to turn sour. They could have just set up on the point and forced Blank to come down onto them. That would have been an uncomfortable situation for Blank. Hong Kong Attitude could have at least gotten a third there. But instead, they're going to try and follow that up further with a dive, and it just totally falls sour.
And no one escapes from Eat You Up as well. Note that he had no pressure on him as soon as the dive from Hong Kong Attitude happened. It was mostly happening around that hydroponic side, around this sort of section where Huss is now. Eat You Up goes to the opposite side of that map on the defense, on B, on A rather, over to that high ground section near the stairs, and no one can touch him. Meanwhile, he collects the kills.
He's setting straight back up in the same corner. Just waiting for Hong Kong Attitude.
Good matrix from Shilan. That would have been a headshot onto a tank.
Yeah, very nicely placed. Here's, though, Riptire, just to throw a spanner in the works. And, yeah, oh, no, it's Ting. I mean, that's fine enough, actually. Just forcing a Ting out that far back is something, because Hong Kong Attitude are super separated here. This is a big time sink.
So this is now where Blank have to also be considerate of how this sort of collapse happens from Hong Kong Attitude. Note the 2 supports still waiting near the spawn. Note the tanks really far away. Tongue reasonably safe. You'd assume he's reasonably safe.
I mean, he is, yeah, his turret not so much, but again, it might not matter. CQB is already down on the dive, as is McCulty, stuck in a trap. They killed the turret a second time, but turret's already done the work, and the rest of Hong Kong Attitude not healthy enough to stay in this fight. Cute deflect there, but not going to pay off.
Yeah, it's basically a Genji stag. You don't see too many of those, and with that, I mean, we're kind of halfway there already for Hong Kong Attitude, down to about 3 minutes now. Note they started on just about 6 minutes. 6 minutes you would need to cap out the entire map. 3 minutes, we're getting to the Blank territory. You got to do what they did and basically do it in no time at all.
We're now starting to approach that situation where, I mean, full hold notwithstanding, Hong Kong Attitude, like they've got to get, they need to get a cap out still in, like I said, comparable time to Blank for a second time bank. That's the window that Blank bought themselves. That's the safety net that they've got beneath them. Hong Kong Attitude struggling to even make headway here, let alone match what Blank were able to do. This
Here we go. That's some headway.
Yeah, that is some. Oh, no, but he's down to Huwu. Just a few too many members and a few swings too slow. They're going to be able to raise Tongue back up. It's effectively no change here, and Hong Kong Attitude are still getting staggered out, still resetting from that.
They're not resetting, they're going back in. Triple sound barrier.
Oh man, that's rough though. Already losing Shilan's mech. They lose so much frontline pressure. Huwu's still on this point, and he's still got a self-destruct to zone Hong Kong Attitude off it. Tongue low and now down though. They've lost a Ting again.
It's just the tanks.
Jostling. Yeah, it's just the tanks. But there's that self-destruct from Huwu. They're able to avoid it, and Trill does go down while that was channeling. Huwu gets 3 mech. IU Up has been able to rejoin as well from the far side of this. Huss can get back in. Are you joking, man? IU Up, who died earlier in that, able to get the those 2 shots, I think Blank is still going to hold here.
And the infra side as well is just going to allow him to find those kills. The tank staying alive was all that Blank needed. Now, 1 tick, in fact, did not even go through. Now goes through for Hong Kong Attitude, but for Blank, still defendable.
Because Blank did finally have to pull back, but yeah, still defendable. Not so much now. That is actually 1-for-1, but now with Kura going down, a little bit less so. Blank, they are still going to pile on, but this was read by a Hong Kong Attitude. Blank in, pulling back and just regrouping for a brief second, gave Hong Kong Attitude a window. I think more of a window than Blank thought they had given. That does mean Hong Kong Attitude will at last cap A.
But this time, there's a bit of a difference. You don't get the same quality of snowball from Hong Kong Attitude. Yes, the EMP becomes available, but can you get all those other important ultimates? That's what you need right now. And also, you got to shut down Hus. If he gets the counter EMP, Hong Kong Attitude might lose this push.
This is exactly how Blank lost their first B defense, though. It's seeing saved by the sound barrier, and that'll also give him time to get a primal rage available. Huwu has to really convert off the self-destruct. No, I don't think he actually got to even channel it. Wow, 2 ticks. Looking to get more. Blank are still staggering out here. They don't have stall tools. Chill doesn't have a primal rage. Hus, doesn't even get an EMP. Already dead. It's just Kura stalling with the Mei, who will get a self-destruct. No, he won't. They've done it. And they've got more time.
And note that a Ting actually knocked Kura away. He was playing the Mei, wanted to cryo freeze onto the point, smacks him all the way to the other side. Cryo freeze off the point is what Kura gets at the end of the day. And for Blank, the desperation defense was not even enough. Hong Kong Attitude, yes, they even got more time. However, you had to expect that needed to be more time. They started with 6 minutes. If they didn't finish with more time, that would be outrageous.
Man, this map is what the series so far should have looked like. And now I have to say, even if this results into a 3-0, this is the Hong Kong Attitude we expected to see here. I don't care if it took them 5 of their 6 minutes to make it through there. They made it through. We're in double time bank. We haven't seen that all season long.
And it's a rare treat indeed. And with this kind of competition, you'll take it any day of the week as well. Now, consider that Blank Esports have made a pretty good comeback as well. The fact that they started this with only 2 minutes remaining in their time bank. Hong Kong Attitude 3 times that amount of time at 6 minutes. Blank Esports now pulling it back to 1 minute versus 1:12. Only 12 seconds separating these 2 teams when originally it was about 4.
That's a really big shift up, and it does speak to Blank being able to really kind of pick things up. But you've got to revisit the fact that both times Hong Kong Attitude ended up attacking B, they won it in the exact same way. Blank has still yet to defend out B in any significant capacity.
Right now, Hong Kong Attitude, we've seen this defense twice. A Ting slightly changing his positioning. You would get spotted there if you do it 3 times in a row. Yeah. But it does also mean Hong Kong Attitude, they do get still a dive.
Yeah, it changes up a little bit slightly. That dive is successful as they kind of cut off the column with Hus going down. No responses just yet from Blank. They finally convert onto Mango Jai. And now this is that situation that Hong Kong Attitude ended up in last time. The few members that ended up booking it to the point to contest Blank ended up getting picked off, and we're already seeing the same thing again. The pressure, the coordination.
20 seconds.
I ate you up with his 2 tanks. Yeah, 20 seconds, but they are still winning the fight. That's the more crucial thing of this. They've got CQB McCulty soon to go down here. Able to get off for a moment. They need to re-enter with something, anything, a pulse bomb, an EMP.
Getting that first point cap is so crucial for Blank Esports. It's not going to happen now. Hong Kong Attitude got to go back to B. And if Blank get anything more than 1 tick, if they even get 1 tick, that might be too much for Hong Kong Attitude to handle.
They chose to not contest that. And whether or not Blank fully cap here doesn't matter. Hong Kong Attitude have just made it harder for themselves on their offense. They have to cap A in their own right and then match whatever Blank get on B.
But choosing not to defend A is also important because you do not allow Blank to snowball. Losing a member, crucially, at a bad time, would lose you B as well. You can't afford to lose B.
And they're recognizing the EMP win condition, which they do now commit. They've still lost Shailin's mech, though, and Blank, they've weathered the storm a little bit here. Kura needs to stay alive, needs to get a sound barrier. No! Does not, and was channeling it as well as a Ting was able to finish him off. And I don't see Blank getting a third here. Not without I Eat You Up. Hus too low. Coalescence from Mango Jai, matched by Tongue, but Mango's has got the distance, has got the mileage.
Sleep
tanks finally down on the point, and that is all Blank will get. They won't get a third. Hong Kong Attitude, they need to cap A, and then all they need is a third on B.
But such good discipline for them to say, we are not going to risk A. If we go in for this final A defense and we fail, guess what? That's going to be a full snowball from Blank. They will fully cap on B. That would be insurmountable. That would be impossible even for Hong Kong Attitude to achieve themselves. Just getting A, then maybe 1/3 of B, that is still definitely within the realm possibly. Hong Kong Attitude can still make this work.
The unfortunate thing, though, is equally in the realm of possibility is getting full held on A. Certainly with how long it took them to get A previously, we can see the opportunity here for Blank to just do the same. And even then, even if that A hold is not successful from Blank, a B hold could still be successful. That puts it to a draw, and that still keeps Blank on match point. That's not a win for Hong Kong Attitude. That's not a recovery for Hong Kong Attitude.
It's also not a win for Blank Esports, and does give Hong Kong Attitude a potential there. We've talked about what happens if we go into a draw. That means if Hong Kong Attitude want to reverse sweep, we will have to go to a map 6. I'm pretty sure about that one. And for Blank Esports, and certainly for Hong Kong Attitude on their attack, we've said before, okay, maybe they didn't get a first attempt on their previous attack, but let's go back to attack 1. That was the first attempt attack. We've seen Hong Kong Attitude do both now.
This is the same thing again. Hong Kong Attitude, they need to not let this be quite so successful as it was on the previous defense. On their original offense against this exact setup, they were actually very quick at dealing with it. They need to repeat that same success.
There's also a lot of success from Eat You Ups, connecting a bunch of great headshots specifically onto guys like Mui, who now wanting to challenge Eat You Up directly.
This could be a little bit of a slow thing, though, for Hong Kong Attitude, pulling out a window of their own.
Time is being used. Note that 20 seconds has already been used here. Hong Kong Attitude now making this dive happen.
They need to get conversion. Tung and Kura have both kind of withstood the initial pressure. Look at Eat You Up set up on this opposing side here. We're going to get an angle on McCulty rather. Even in not getting it, though, Hong Kong Attitude don't have the members to stay in this.
And that could be the Winston barrier projector, the bubble that misses, that cost Hong Kong Attitude. Note that when he landed on the high ground, the bubble did not follow him. It went to the low ground. That means that Trill's, his own barrier there, gets to stay up, and Hong Kong Attitude do not have a great defensive tool to keep those tanks alive. That could be so costly right now.
This is it. This is the last chance Hong Kong Attitude have. They've already lost a Ting. They're finally dealt with Eat You Up, though. Kura shot out of the skies. This is a window for Hong Kong Attitude. McCulty needs to stay alive, and Shailin's the only one keeping presence on the point. They lose CQB. They've only got Mango trying to top these members off, but Ting will be able to rejoin. But look at the members of Blank still set up on the point. They're trying to get more kills here. Molten Core is going to be big, trying to get the turret set up, but the Riptide's got McCulty. This could be it. Blank, they're going to go to the finals. They've done it. A second 3-0 in our semis. The only unexpected result, but it is the one that has come to pass. And both first place finishes from both of these groups will make it all the way to the finals, will come up head to head to decide who is the best team this first season of Contenders. Blank have done it.
And what an impressive 3-0 that was. Clean up on the first 2 maps and then going into Horizon Lunar Colony, a huge deficit after that first attack and defense phase, going into tying back 4 minutes behind the other team, making the miracle run to get that attack underway, bringing it down to within 12 seconds of either side, and then Blank completing that defense, stopping Hong Kong Attitude from continuing that match, stopping Hong Kong Attitude from continuing their seasonal run.
And really, it's turning that 6-minute advantage into just a 12-second advantage, into not enough to win. It is that incredible turnaround there from Blank that makes that win on Horizon Lunar Colony so deserved. And it's that on top of the convincing 2-0 that had before that that makes the series win so incredibly deserved as well.
And now it tastes so sweet for Blank Esports because they needed a good victory here to match up against Detonator Korea. When we saw Detonator beat Mega, we said, look, if you're Blank or your Hong Kong Attitude right now, you got to be quaking just a little bit. That was a 3-0, a tight 3-0, tight being a clean 3-0 in that regard for Detonator Korea. Now going into Blank versus Hong Kong Attitude. If either of these two teams want to seriously challenge Detonator Korea, and I won't even use that word challenge, I think it's going to be close now. I think it's going to be a real match. Blank have shown they have the capability to sweep another top 4 team. That means they're going to go into the Detonator Korea final hot.
Exactly, and the only comparative metric we now have between these two teams is Hong Kong Attitude, who at least got 1 map win against Detonator Korea. That doesn't mean that Blank are just empirically better than Detonator Korea, but certainly that one comparative metric we have tells us that Blank's win against Hong Kong Attitude was better than Detonator Korea's. We did hear earlier tonight, Detonator Korea feel that when they lost that map against Hong Kong Attitude, they weren't playing at their best, certainly weren't playing as good as they are now, but at the same time, I mean, Blank have really brought their A game here to these playoffs, to the semi-final, and they'll be taking that same game to Detonator Korea, who have to feel threatened, no matter how much they may feel they're playing better than when they played Hong Kong Attitude. Blank are a scary-looking team. And actually, at the same time, you know, as disappointed as I am, kind of, you know, a little bit sad that they were both 3-0s. This is probably the best time for the 3-0s to happen. On the other side of the coin, I'm extremely excited that these were 3-0s because that means this grand final is going to be a nasty one. I mean, even if it's a 4-0, no matter which direction that's in, if nothing else, that will show the sheer caliber of the team that won, right? It'll be the team that was able to 4-0 a team that also 3-0'd in their own semi-final. Like, that's the caliber. It's not just you were barely better, it's you are leaps and bounds ahead. Whether we get a close series, whether we get a one-way landslide, this finals is going to be historic. Unfortunately, for Hong Kong Attitude, they aren't going to be the one playing in that finals. And that means for the second time here, Blank have been what has stopped them from going any further. And they don't even get that resolution of, were we at least third and not fourth? They don't even get that. They just get no final. And Blank once again get to be this nemesis team for Hong Kong Attitude. Again, the wall, the burden, the barrier even. This is a hurdle that Hong Kong Attitude just cannot overcome. Hong Kong Attitude, have they beaten Blank in the past? Certainly they have, but right now it was a 4-3 record for Blank. That's now a 5-3. Blank get to unequivocally get to be ahead of Hong Kong Attitude in that record. A 4-3 is definitely ahead as well, but 5-3 feels so much safer for a team like Blank. We'll have to see how Hong Kong Attitude do in further seasons of Contenders. Note that this is still very young scene, very young, young professional teams here as well. There are now starting to become some very storied rivalries, this being one of them. I can't wait to see how it develops in future seasons. And of course, to speak of the history here as well, this is Blank after, I mean, at least they got that third place finish, but in season 2 of OPC weren't able to make it back into the finals like they had in season 1. So this is kind of a return here for Blank back into the finals, and where they fell short in season 1 against Flash Wolves all that time ago, this is, as we've said for so many teams here, kind of their season in a way. Flash Wolves aren't here anymore. Those other teams that had knocked Blank out in the past, they're not here anymore. It's only Detonator Korea. That's the only thing left in their way. Let's go and recap how the playoffs have been sort of falling into place here. Detonator Korea coming over the top with Logitech Gia Bang, then against Mega as well. 3-0 followed by another 3-0. Now heading into the grand finals. Mega, they beat Machi, but couldn't quite do the same against Detonator Korea. Blank Esports a 3-0 against Talon, then another one against Hong Kong Attitude. Means they will face Detonator Korea in that grand final. And for Hong Kong Attitude, they beat Xavier, but once again falling short to Blank Esports. Their season ends here, but wow, that grand final is going to be a good one. I mean, it could not have been more fitting, right? I mean, not just the fact that it is the first place finisher from both of these groups. These are two teams that have kind of been eyeing each other up from across the trench, you know, from over the fence. Now let's go ahead, unwind from that one. Let's catch up with Huwu.
访问的时间啦，先恭喜我们的 Blank 得到了总决赛的门票了。我们也邀请了Hu来接受我们的采访，跟各位打个招呼一下吧。
Say hello to your fans.
Hello everybody. OK， 那我问了几个简单的问题。Hu在大家心中就是一个比较会打架型的 diva。那平常在练习的时候，有没有比较喜欢玩的其他的角色呢？
So you're a well-known diva player in Taiwan. We're just wondering what other heroes do you like to play?
Before Diva became meta, I was known mostly for my Xayah play, and like back home, everyone used to call me the Xayah one trick that was just killing everybody in ranked. So yeah, that's my main hero that I like to play, and hopefully I'll be able to bring it back and the future time.
Interesting, thank you. 所以他说他其实啊，在纽西兰是 main 扎利亚的，他其实他觉得他扎利亚更厉害，所以他希望他可以把扎利亚带到这个舞台上，如果有机会的话，因为现在 Meta 来讲，他当然是玩Diva比较多，但是其实他觉得他扎利亚比较厉害。
哇，扎利亚，希望他在冠军赛也有机会出现。好，那我问第二个简单的问题，接下来5月5号我们将要对上 Detonator， 到底有没有信心呢？
So this Saturday you'll be facing up Detonator KR. How do you feel about your chances?
They've been our rivals since the start of OWC. I mean, Contenders. So we've been looking forward to finally meeting up against them in the finals. We're really confident. We've been preparing. Yeah.
Okay, cool. 他是说，因为他有感觉到从 OWCP 开始，他们一直都被拿出来做比较，他觉得这是他们的死对头一样的感觉。可是看完今天比赛要打完，他觉得说，他超有信心的啊，他们会好好的做准备，然后 bring on the best。
果然有王者的风范。其实，在整个赛季 ，DTN 跟 Blank 一直都是在伯仲之间，可见我们接下来5月5号的赛事一定会非常精彩。我们谢谢呼呼接受我们的采访。
Thank you.
OK， 那跟大家预告一下，我们5月5号礼拜6还有打一个 BO7的冠军赛，有我们的万恒。